Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's Geekonomics. We're back. I almost forgot the name of the show. It's Geekonomics. We're back. It's another week. It's another show. Brian got a haircut. He's looking a little bit more dapper than he did last week.
Yes.
Like himself. Just a couple more days. The countdown is on, folks.
Couple more weeks, and this will be gone.
The 21st of March. Is that a Monday?
No, it's a Tuesday. I think it's a
let's
Tuesday or Wednesday, I believe.
Maybe I'll do a tribute video to your beard. I'll go through all the shows and do the I Will Remember You thing.
I will remember. Yeah, it's a Tuesday.
All stills of you and your crazy hair and beard.
Yes, I know. It did feel great to get a haircut. And then Allison was just like, I asked her, and we had a conversation last week.
Yeah.
You said to me, hey, you should ask your wife if she wants totally shaved or keep stubble. I said to Allison, I go, what do you want when I shave this off? Do you want me to go really short and keep the beard? Or do you want completely, I'm newborn. I'm a newborn baby.
Yes.
She just said, shave it all off. That's what she said.
She might regret that decision.
It's what she wants. And then I could start the small stubbly beard for the summer. And I'll just maintain that.
You know what you should do? You should have your younger brother over. And have you two stand next to each other and be like, this is what I would look like without any facial hair.
She knows what I look like.
I know.
She knows what I look like.
That she probably looked like back when we've all aged since the last time we've been clean shaven. I don't know if it's gonna look the same.
Allison, is that you? Do you know what I look like shaved? You forget? But
random questions.
You told
random
me
odd questions,
off, right?
You look what I look like shaved. That's might be inappropriate to ask your wife in the middle of a podcast.
Allison said she wants me to shave it off because she wants to be reminded of what I look like normally. But then it will come back in a couple of days.
Just tell her to have her bags packed for when she sees you and has to
Mark says to
somewhere.
have your bags packed because when I shave, you won't know who I am and you'll be scared. I'm a goiter.
Tell her Claire forbids me from shaving off.
Claire forbids
like a
Mark
12-year-old
from shaving his beard off because he looks like a 12-year-old. She said, "What?" Mark's not allowed to shave his beard because he looks too young. What do you got to say to that? She says she doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
But she wants me to shave my beard off.
All right. You're going to have to videotape it.
We'll take photos. I'll have Allison take photos.
Well, no, I want you to, on your phone, record you walking into the house with your clean shaven face. I want her reaction. Her immediate reaction.
Mark says he wants immediate reaction filmed of my beard being shaved off.
No, not being shaved off, of you walking into the house and her seeing it for the first time.
All right. We'll see what we could do.
Yeah.
Love you, dear. She was up in the kitchen.
She's like, whatever.
I heard her. She's like,
why am I talking to you people?
But this Sunday, with enough beer talk, this Sunday, we have the East of the River comic book and toy show. Yeah. This Sunday at the American Legion on Route 5 in Enfield, Connecticut.
Yes.
10 a.m. to 3 p.m. 9 a.m. is $3 to get you in for early bird. It's $1 admission normally. We're going to have toys. We're going to have comics. Matt Ryan's going to be there. We're going to have artists. We're going to have a lot of stuff. Get out of the house. The weather is going to be it's going to be 40 degrees, but we're going to have, it's Saturday. It's going to be like 30.
I mean, it was 60 degrees yesterday, and now there's snow on the ground. So,
yeah. Bonkers. New England weather.
Global warming doesn't exist.
Well, no, it does exist. It's exactly why it exists, Mark. It's because we've had one.
I'm being sarcastic, Brian. I was being sarcastic.
All right. Okay.
60 degrees one day, snow on the ground the next day.
I didn't pick up
science.
I didn't pick up on the sarcasm.
Yeah.
So yes, please, I'm pulling up the flyer real
Yeah,
quick.
I'll have the flyer posted during the show, and I'll also put it at the end of the show as well. And then next weekend is Andrew's big show in Manchester, so it's a busy time of year.
Yeah. Right after this, yeah, one weekend. Now, where's that? That's going to be at the.
I don't know exactly the name of the place, but
It's
it's in
the
Manchester. It's on Main Street.
It's the Manchester. Is it
Army Navy
that's
Club or something?
Yeah, the Army Navy Club. It's on
Yeah.
the main drag.
Main Street, Manchester. You can't miss it. You get right
yeah.
off the highway. It's right there.
Yeah, we'll be talking more about that next week.
Yes.
But that's gonna be a great show as well. That show is always well attended. So we'll see. I know we've had multiple discussions off and on camera about what we are going through as a whole with the economy. Bills are rising, everything's rising.
Yeah, actually, like 10
some of the shows have
dozen.
Yeah, some of these shows have not been well attended because the holidays, everything went up,
Weather
and people
stuff.
The weather's been fine. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you can't even excuse for the weather. But like, will this February March show kind of have a turnaround since things have leveled off? We don't have the holidays. Things have slightly gone down. The only thing that's gone up is the electric bill. Eversource
Eggs.
and eggs. So I don't know. We'll see. I hope we have a turnaround. I hope we have a good turnout. The markets at the Enfield Mall are a good indication that people are willing to go out. Are people willing to spend money? That's the big question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have tons of deals at my table. I know a lot of people will have some really great deals. A lot of box diving is available. You get some cheap comics. You can fill up you can find the holes in your collection very cheap.
Yeah, and Matt's gonna have the first issue of Brenda still available.
Nice. It's
you
a
can
great
get on the
comic.
ground floor of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Book
I'm
2
gonna
is
have
on its way. It's gonna be out relatively soon. I'm not sure exactly when, but I know he's trying to find a date to release the second book. So
nice. So it should be a good time. I always have a great time, nonetheless. Even if there's not a lot of people, I always have a great time talking to other artists and vendors. It's $1. Come on in. It's a good time for the family.
Yeah, come hang out.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
Yeah, should be a good time. Are you working the door?
No, I'll be. If I'm there, I'll be hanging out with Matt right next to you, probably.
All right. So I've come to find out there is going to Scott does have extra vendors coming, and there's going to be a table between me and Matt.
Oh,
this is going to be a tight squeeze in that.
It's gonna be a tight squeeze in there. Yeah.
I'm actually going to hopefully help Scott set up. So I will be there Sunday morning at like 5 a.m.
You're a nutcase.
I'm up at that time anyway.
You're an old man.
Sadly. Anyway, so please come on down. We hope to see everybody there. It's gonna be a great time. It supports local business and local artists. I mean, what more could you want?
Yeah. And only besides those 2 shows going on, I'd be
remiss.
Odd not to mention, if you live in our area, Enfield area, the Connecticut Trauma Museum is open every Saturday, and they're having
open now, huh?
Every Saturday they're open.
Okay.
From now until April.
Wow.
And every Saturday they're doing kids events. They're doing different crafts and different things for the kids at the Trauma Museum. I was just there yesterday helping them out with a project that they're did a training over there with them. They're looking into doing their own show down the road, but they're looking for volunteers as well, as every other nonprofit is. So but check out the Trauma Museum every Saturday. They're awesome. And the New England Air Museum. It's right by the airport. Like, I don't think people realize we have so many awesome museums in our area that you could check out, and you should go check them out.
Nice. That's awesome.
PSA for local museums.
Right. Well, thank you, Mark.
No problem.
Also, you know, we're gonna end the show with our review of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yes.
Before we get into that, Mark, how was your week? Anything worth mentioning of note? You watching, doing, what have you?
Well, we played D&D on Saturday.
Yeah.
Brian was half awake the whole time for some reason.
I had a mini stroke for some reason.
Either,
I know
either
Bobby's listening. For
low
some
on
strange,
caffeine or something, maybe.
I don't know why, and I have no excuse. I know how to. We played multiple games. I have a great time. I don't know why. I'm like, why did I not roll my D20? Why
It
did
was
I
like
roll
it was
backwards?
hilarious. You
It
were
was.
literally the worst D&D player in the history of the planet.
But I mean, I afterwards, I'm like, why?
On Saturday, I'm saying you were literally
Yeah.
the worst D&D player. You played for like 12 years and you had like you've never played before.
You know what though? I
was
rolled
going on?
really good after I rolled. My rolls were really good. That dice tower get you some good rolls. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
The dice tower was awesome.
I busted out my new dice. I know my brother's probably listening as well. I busted out the dice he got me for Christmas.
Were those soccer balls? Or
No,
R2D2?
it was R2D2 themed.
All right, because from far away, it's blue. I saw
Yeah.
blue and white. So I
Yeah, they
wasn't
look
sure.
like soccer balls.
Yeah.
It's like the D20s, they're the forged dice from the Critical Role guys.
Mhm.
So they're not like hard edged dice. They have like a nicer like golf ball kind of rounding to them. So they're not like super hard.
Right.
So they roll way nicer and they roll smoother. So
I had a great time. It was great to see everybody.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, it sucked that we missed the session because I did feel out of sorts. I felt like I was disconjointed from the rest of the group.
Yeah.
I did listen to the podcast. I kind of understand what they've gone through, but my character technically doesn't.
Yeah. Nor do I.
Our characters hung out
Went
with
through
each
an
other.
experience and they don't understand what we went through.
Right. And there's other
They
things
feel like we
going
didn't do
on. There's other things going on.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff going on that I
that
like
nobody
have
can know.
And that's the other thing too, is like there's stuff like I have a very difficult time if I know something that I know other people could benefit from the knowledge. But I don't know if I should tell people certain things. Because I have not played D&D a lot like the other guys have.
Yeah.
So like
me
I don't
too.
know if that's
meta
or in game. I don't
I will say this, and this is for I know Bob's listening and he'll understand. When we played way back in the day,
yes,
that was so long ago.
Yes.
Also, we took such long gaps that I kind of felt like I was relearning, and we didn't really talk. We didn't talk about it in a chat. It was very disconjointed. I honestly feel this time around, sticking with the schedule every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
We're in the chat constantly talking.
Yeah.
And we're learning. I think I'm more into the game now, an understanding of the game now than I've ever been. I count that as like a pre-game. I mean, if we had played every month and we were always, I think I would have been more into it. It was tough. How long did we? I think we went almost like a year one time without.
We didn't even finish it.
No, we didn't finish it. No.
The end of the story is still out there. And John's ripping off of what happened after the story ended. And I have no idea what's going on. So
yeah, I honestly, and I also think Bob has a good point, and you do too. Using the D&D Beyond app and not using a book, I think I got to get the password onto a device and bring a device with me, and not worry about paper.
It's so much easier because it's nice to like John said to me when I first got there, because I was running a little late. Because, truth be told, I went to clean my ears right before I got out, like when I was getting ready to go, and usually I have Claire bought me this nice like tool that I could use, but I was in a hurry, so I grabbed a Q-tip and put it in my ear, and I pushed a piece of wax like deep into my ear.
You're not supposed to put those in your ear.
Yeah, I know, but it was
They're supposed to be around the ear.
Yeah,
you're not supposed to put them in your ear.
So I did the thing, and then I felt something, so I pushed it in, and it got lodged in there. So the whole night, I was when I got downstairs, I put the drops in my ear to try to get it out. Didn't come out right away. I actually from Saturday till last night, it was stuck in there. I couldn't get it out, and it finally came out last night, and I can actually hear again, which is fantastic. So so it's been quite the experience to not have a quarter of my hearing capacity on this side of my head. But yes, that's how I was running late. So I finally got there, and I didn't have like I'd totally forgotten to update my spells and everything, so I didn't pick my spells. So yeah, so having that app and being able to do that like on the fly
Right.
first getting going, as opposed to like having the paper sheet and having to go through the book. And I mean, it's 2023. I mean,
Right. Totally.
everything's online. Why am I printing out pieces of paper when I could just use a phone or something?
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm going to do for the next session. I'm excited. It's great because I actually have new spells and whatnot to use, and I felt like as a group we were like we took on an enemy. That was an awesome fight because we
Well, I
took
feel
them
like
on
we're
so
finally
quick.
like, yeah, I feel like we're finally coalescing to where we're
Yeah,
like strategizing on the fly, as opposed to before where we would, like every group when you first start, you're like feeling everything out. You're planning stuff. Who's going to be the guy that's going to go like, who's the main guy? Who's like the guy that's like the tank? Who's the like figuring out our different like strengths and weaknesses. Like where do we play best? I'm a stand back and shoot from far away person. There's the guys that are the charge in front and do stuff people. So it's like figuring all that out and getting like the rhythm to how we do things. I think last game on Saturday, I think we finally all like coalesced into like a strike force, and we all have our like everyone knows, okay, I know that person's gonna handle that, so I know I can handle this. I know this
right,
person's going here, I can go there.
yeah, yeah. It was a good time. I think
Yeah.
it was like you kind of feel more of like a superhero in a sense that you can take on something, whereas before a battle might take a long time
Yeah.
because we're constantly we're lower.
Because as I was saying, I don't think we knew like what each other was gonna do. And now I
Yeah,
think we have more like knowledge about what each one of us is gonna tackle. So
right. We got
that's the
Cocaine
big thing.
Bear. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
stuff like
cocaine
that.
bear. Yeah.
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine
Um,
bear rides in the woods and hunts down people. Cocaine
Cocaine
bear.
Bear. It was a good time.
Yeah,
And
great
then
time.
anyway, so D&D was a lot of fun. What else, Mark? You're on your phone.
I got a message from somebody else, wanted to check, make sure it was anything major. Um, Not much else going on. I mean, it's kind of quiet. Like I said, we went and saw Ant-Man. Uh, got about halfway through Last of Us. Haven't finished it yet because I just had a crazy day yesterday.
Oh my God, it was an amazing
So
episode.
yeah, so I haven't totally completed it yet, but I kind of understand what happened. So I don't know how the ending of this episode is, but I know like the first 3/4 of it.
Oh,
Like I
such
got
an
to the part where he meets up with his brother. So
okay,
like that
Tommy.
part. So
Oh God, you got some good stuff coming.
yeah, so I got to finish that up. And then besides that, not much else going on. It's been pretty, like I said, it's pretty quiet time of year. There's no football's over, so there's none of that going on. There's no the shows are kind of light right now. There's not much shows going on. Carnival Row's back. I've been watching that second season of that, final season as well, which is surprising because I don't like the main actress in it, but the show's good.
Mm.
So that's a difficult thing to get through. Uh,
Well, catch up on The Last of Us, man, because it was fantastic.
yeah,
And
I'm going to. I'm going to finish that up.
speaking of shows, uh, in the news, I don't know if you know about this, but it's something we talk about all the time. But Papa Iger, he had an interview, and we, as of now, all these Marvel shows that were supposed to come out this year, as of now, and Papa Iger has stated, and Kevin Feige has agreed, it's become quantity over quality, and that they don't allow something to come out and like kind of be part of the zeitgeist. They just kind of move on quickly to the next thing. So as of now, majority of the MCU shows are being pushed to next year, and we're only getting 2 shows this year: Loki season 2 and Secret Wars. As of now, those are the only 2 shows officially coming out this year. And I agree. It's almost exhausting. And it does kind of ruin the magic. And I feel like they did it with Star Wars. too much. It's too much. You're kind of ruining a good thing. So space it out. Let people enjoy, what it is they're watching, and allow it to permeate and be part of the zeitgeist instead of just being like, oh, in 2 weeks we got something else. And Bob Iger is back, and he's got 2 years to turn the ship around because Disney Plus is losing money, like a lot of
it's been losing money since it opened. Basically, it's
all
streaming
services lose money eventually. But he needs to. He's stated that the MCU needs to be something special and not become a machine that's just turning out show and
the
movie.
thing with the Marvel MCU stuff is I think it shows what the fear that you had with the whole Star Wars thing.
I just said that, it did. I mean, Star Wars suffered the movie.
Well, just like it confirms it. I'm saying it confirms the issues that you were worried about with Star Wars being so often, so many things coming out.
Yeah, you got it.
They streamlined it back. They only did the 3 movies. That they, the only shows you have out are like the Disney Plus shows. So I think it's a little different. So I think with Marvel, it did get like the water hose was turned on basically during Chapek. It was like, here, just take it all. Here's all the Marvel.
Well, pretty much.
And I think it kind of like, and I think, and also like at the time when shows were announced originally, the timing frames of things was a little bit more in line with the movies and how things flow. I think that there's also that, a little bit of the COVID issue with things like shows got pushed back where they're not in line with what the movies were going to be, that they were going to lead into, and shows were lead into movies. So I think there's some of that too.
Well, now there's no excuse because we're
no, but I still think that the things got pushed back, like even shows that were planned. Like Ironheart was going to come out when it first was announced way back initially by Feige. It was like in line with Black Panther more. Like it would have came out like this time of year after Black Panther had already come out. And now it's pushed so far back that I think by the time Ironheart would come out, like I don't think the interest would be there. Like people wouldn't be like, oh, I want to know about Ironheart, a random character in the second Black Panther movie.
Yeah, I think this is the problem with the last phase of MCU. It was very like there was just too much of we don't know what to follow.
Well, I heard a great take about that on one of the YouTube channels I watch previewed. I can't remember which one of them mentioned it, that it should have been called Phase 4. Like Ant-Man and Wasp should have been the beginning of Phase 4. And like that last section of stuff after Endgame should have been called like the interlude, like the prologue or something. That like took everyone, that brought everyone down from the like height of Endgame, brought everything like to kind of set up this next phase. Like Phase 4 wasn't really like a phase because there was no big bad that everyone had to fight. There was no like big overarching story. It was kind of like, oh, here's the COVID phase, they could have called it even. Like, hey, we know we have these things that are going on, but things got kind of out of line, so we couldn't really do what we wanted to do. So we're just going to throw some stuff out to you so you have some Marvel, but it's not like going to be, and we had a lot of, I think the most amount of, I don't want to say misses, but like not
we did
Marvel hits like we had in other phases, like Eternals, Dead on Arrival. It's like, I think there was a lot of that going on.
We had more misses than hits.
Really do like what they wanted it to do, kind of stuff. Like Thor: Love and Thunder, not the greatest movie. It was great.
I loved it, but I understand
it wasn't like
it was divisive.
Yeah, it wasn't as big as other movies were. It seems like there wasn't a lot of.
They all made good money.
A lot of they were up down stuff.
The reviews, and I think the overall there was definitely big hits, but there was a lot of misses and a lot of fronts. And like I said, it became quantity over quality. And I kind of feel like if you go back before Endgame, there was hit after hit, and people were loving it, and hit after hit. There was a few misses, but barely any. This time, we're like, She-Hulk was kind of a miss. Love and Thunder obviously was very divisive, so that's kind of a miss with the audience.
There wasn't any like overarching
Eternals was a
story or
miss.
anything. There was like nothing that set anything up. Like Phase 3 was all Thanos. Everything was like, even 1, 2, and 3 were all building up to Thanos, basically. Like 1 and 2 were building up to Thanos. 3 had the big Thanos story in it. And then like 4 kind of was building up to Kang. You had Loki, had the one appearance of Kang, and
That
it was
was
never mentioned again. So it's kind of like there was no like character that everyone was heading towards.
Right.
And like Thor was mentioned in Ant-Man, but Thor never mentioned anything about Kang in his movie. So it's like there's no stakes, I think, that everyone could rally around. Like,
well, shall we just get into the Ant-Man? Because I mean, I don't know, there's not much else to talk about but the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania review.
you can, yeah.
I kind of feel like this is a good segue into it. I mean, you make a good point. I personally, after seeing Ant-Man, it was a good movie. It wasn't bad. It wasn't wonderful.
Exactly.
It was fun and forgettable. I honestly, nothing stuck
It was
with
fun.
me.
I definitely think,
with me.
like, I definitely want to rewatch it again.
I do too.
I think my own fault. I think I went in expecting something different.
We were told something different. We were told this is going to be on the epic side. They said this is
Well,
a
it was
level
an epic battle. It just wasn't the kind of epic battle that we would expect it to be. I think
I kind of
it was
feel
almost like a buyer's remorse kind of thing, because it was like and Marvel set it up themselves. They've done this to themselves. You're never gonna get, no matter what you do, another Endgame type battle where you have every superhero all on the screen at once.
We will, but
fighting.
It's gonna be.
But I mean, it's not gonna happen like in every movie.
But
so every time you'd be like, there's gonna be an epic battle, and you don't provide every superhero you have fighting this one person,
right?
It's not going to be an epic battle. It's just a battle. It's just Ant-Man fighting with a bunch of random Quantumania people.
I don't remember any of the real characters at all. But the one thing that bothered me the most, and it's not the movie's fault, I want to watch it again on Disney Plus. It's those effing people who decided to talk through the whole movie. That was a huge distraction.
Well, there was teenagers next to us, and that was, a bad situation.
No excuse.
I
yelled.
You
Shut
did.
up.
You did. And I turned to the kid that was in that group that was sitting next to me. I'm like, what a dick that guy is, huh?
We felt bad for you because you were sitting right next to him.
Well, they were right next to me. There were a couple of kids down. The kid that was sitting next to me was completely quiet. Barely didn't say a word the whole time.
Dude, they were having a full-fledged podcast.
Like, and he finally was turning at his friends and was like, dude, knock it off.
Dude, it's so annoying.
Yeah. But they were like not even like just like talking like this, like just talking to each other. They were like, oh man, I can't, like, oh, that's gonna happen. What's going on?
I know. It's like, holy shit.
Who's that? Why is Bill Murray in this?
I didn't pay to listen to you guys talk.
Yeah, I wanted like to pay for the commentary. I would buy the DVD and not watch it.
Right. So there's that. I still enjoyed it. It felt off. It didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. Is that weird to say? It felt like a little...
it felt, I think it's just Ant-Man movies are shot differently than other Marvel movies.
It's nothing to do with that. The last two Ant-Man movies were very low stakes. And there was more, this was kind of a high stake movie as they promoted it.
Like the first one,
they were both low stakes.
The guy was trying to kill his daughter.
Yeah, but they had their battle. They had their battle in a bedroom playset.
I know, but that's still pretty high stakes. That's not like low stakes. It's like, oh well, he's just trying to kill his daughter. No big deal.
No. Low stakes meaning it's not like, oh no, the world's coming to an end. Low stakes as it's just a simple story. What I'm trying to say.
It was just the thing. Like,
it didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. It felt like a kind of bigger movie with Ant-Man in it. And it was, I mean, I like legacy characters. I'm a big fan of seeing movies with the legacy characters. I'm very
Yeah.
excited for Guardians. I'm super excited. That's the one Marvel movie I'm super hyped for. But this, it washed over me. Nothing stuck. The two things that stuck though. The one big thing, I did not like the fact that they gave us
Lulu's haircut.
They gave us that. Well, in the comic, her hair is short too, so I get it.
But that's like, it was comically bad.
Yeah, the third act was in the trailer, and that really bothered me because
Not completely though.
Yes, that whole fight scene was in the trailer.
But not like the ending of it or anything. Like, you didn't know the consequences of it.
I know, but the fact that that moment happened in the movie where everything is wrapping up, and then I'm like, well, it's not over because I know a whole scene hasn't been shown yet, and it bothered me because I would have liked that to be more of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because
it's a classic line though, so you can't not throw that in a trailer. It was like a great line. So it's like
I thought the trailer really, whoever made that trailer did a disservice to the movie because it kind of ruined that moment.
It was very DC-ish of them to do it that way.
Yeah, it was a horrible idea. And then, okay, so now we're led to believe that Kang's the new big.
Hold on, let's get into. Are we getting into the spoilers here? Or are we just
yeah, we're in spoilers.
Okay. Just letting people know. So if you haven't seen it yet, which if you haven't seen it yet, that's your fault because it's Tuesday. But we're gonna get into spoilers. So
my thing is this. Okay, my thing is this. There's tons of Kangs, which is a big problem. But the fact that Ant-Man took care of this one Kang that was actually ostracized because he was just destroying pipelines so easily does not make me feel that.
The thing is that Ant-Man himself did not get rid of this Kang. It took an ant farm that was thrown into the quantum realm, that was trapped in a time loop for 1,000 years,
which they're there now,
and built their own society.
I know.
Built their own technology, and is so far advanced that they learned how to jump from realm to realm, and then they were the only ones that were able to beat Kang.
No, actually,
Kang, but they without their help of knocking off all of his stuff off his suit and breaking his suit, and he's basically just a guy at that point, then
you're wrong.
Scott couldn't have beat him.
Kang made a bubble. The ants were all over the bubble. MODOK came in, his face went into the bubble, and then he like.
Well, that too, yeah.
So MODOK actually got rid of the
MODOK
bubble,
and the ants,
and then
Scott
the
would not
ants
have been able to beat Kang.
And then Scott, they had a fisticuff fight, which you see in the trailer, at the end. But to me, I was just kind of like, it seemed very easy. Not the ending I was expecting. I thought maybe Kang would somehow defeat Ant-Man and then prove himself.
I also don't think
a big bad.
And I thought about this as we're walking out. I don't think that Kang is gone.
Who knows? But there's
because you didn't see him die. All you did is see him get sucked into the machine.
Right.
And if the first time it threw him into the quantum realm, when
he could throw him somewhere else.
They could throw him some other realm.
Right. Totally.
And those Kangs can just think he's gone. Because like they saw like his self get sucked into the machine, that they think he's dead. But I then made me think about what if, because they didn't mention the Kang from Loki.
Well, we got that at the end.
But they didn't mention it, like he's not mentioned in that scene though.
Well,
with the other Kangs.
He was the original Kang in Loki.
But he's not mentioned in the other Kangs when they have that scene.
He's on his own.
So, here's my theory. What if the Kang that was an Ant-Man and was sent into that machine, when he spit out of said machine, he's the TVA Kang?
He's not. He doesn't have the scar.
He does have the scars, though.
No, I don't think that one does. I don't think that one does. He doesn't have any scars, actually. And he spoke differently. He spoke very differently. So it's two different Kangs.
Okay.
For my knowledge.
I'd have to rewatch Loki again.
For my knowledge. Well, he's obviously, this Kang is going to be a bigger presence in Loki season 2.
Yes,
We
well,
got
because
a
they
little,
did the whole thing where he like took over the world.
yeah. So I hope season 2 of Loki shows what a bigger threat he is. Yeah, there's a lot of them, but he
I
seems
also want to like
easily
rewatch
defeated.
the last episode of Loki again and see what that Kang is that's in the world that he's in. Because it'd be interesting to see if he's like if it's the same Kang.
It's a different one because this Kang
No, I'm
had been
saying in the
stuck in
Loki,
there.
like that season, like end of the season, if it's the same Kang that he fought at the end of the season, or it's a different Kang. Because I don't think anyone thought about that either. Like it could
I,
be,
I
it could have been sent to a different realm
I don't know.
with a different Kang.
Right. I don't know. We'll find out.
Because as we saw, there's thousands of them.
Yeah. Um. Like, yeah, it's building. Obviously, this is the beginning of something. The movie was fun, but it wasn't like, oh my god, that was awesome. It was just kind of like it happened. It was kind of it happened. It happened.
Mm.
Like I said, I do want to watch it again at home, just because it's during the quiet scenes when they're actually having like meaningful conversation. I just hear these teenagers talking.
Yeah.
Um, that could have been it too. I mean, it was still fun to go see. We had a great time.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great to see the characters back on screen. I thought it was great to see Michelle Pfeiffer have a bigger role this time. Jane.
Yeah.
She barely had a role last movie, so it was great.
Well, she was trapped in the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they rescued her, and
yeah, in the
that was
middle.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we get to see what was going on. The side characters were funny, but that was
No one
about
was
it.
memorable. No one like it
No.
wasn't like if it feels
No.
like they were trying to introduce new characters at one point. It seemed like it was like an idea of we're going to introduce this hero or this somebody, and then they were like, we can't. We're not going to do that now. So just make him some random character,
This is what I remember.
like the guy from The Good Place. That was the only person I can tell you anything about.
Cheaty, yeah, Cheetle
Yeah,
or
Chidi.
whatever.
I was like, Chidi. He survived The Good Place, and now he's in the quantum realm.
Lighthead,
Yes,
girl warrior,
Jello body
and
guy.
Jello body guy who likes holes.
Yes.
But I couldn't tell you a goddamn name.
Yeah, I
I
couldn't tell
don't
you who
even
they are. Or
know.
if
I
they'll
don't.
ever show up again anywhere.
Right. So I felt like
And
I
Bill
didn't feel like
Murray's character, who is now dead. Was he eaten by that thing that they enlarged?
he was eaten by that thing. It was
I
weird
think
that
they
Bill.
also they also are doing, of course, like I've said before, setting up Young Avengers by showing Stature, Cassie's character, and how like she's going to be a different version of Ant-Man, and they like didn't delve into that enough, I don't think.
I
Like
liked her character.
before the quantum realm stuff, I think
Yeah.
if they had done more of that in the first act, they could, I think there's a lot more story there that I
Yeah.
think could be used. I mean, I hate to say it, but a Disney Plus show with her would be great to kind of like flesh out that character before they throw it into something else.
Right. I liked Cassie. I liked her character. I did like the cliffhanger at the end where Scott Lang is like, "Oh my God, he said if we defeat him in the quantum realm,
Yeah, was he the one that we should have saved? And
he said everyone will die," and
like
he's
that,
like, "Oh no."
but it's almost like a little nod back to like the Endgame era stuff. Like, oh, was Thanos right? Like that kind of thing. Like the fan service that people were all up in arms about. Like, oh, was Thanos right? Should we have not? Should like half of the galaxy been lost to make things better? Like, was he right? Kind of thing. And it's almost like that was like a little nod to that conspiracy theory thing of, oh, should we have not killed Kang? Should we not have defeated him? Should we have let him
Right.
do what he was doing?
The one thing that
Think
did
is
kind
he
of
the one
bother
that's going to
me
save us?
is that Cassie was giving Scott shit, and I'm like, dude, he saved. I don't understand.
Well, I don't think she was
I
giving
don't.
him. I think she was giving him shit for the fact that he had kind of just settled.
He just
It was
settled in his little
kind of
world.
just living off of that. And she's like, just because you defeated Thanos doesn't mean like being a superhero is over.
Right. Yeah.
It's like there's still stuff like she was saying, like all those people from the blip that are homeless because they were gone for 5 years. They're not like you, who's a superhero who just got everything back.
Yeah.
We're just giving everything back because you're who you are. There's a whole bunch of people who didn't get their stuff back and lost 5 years of their lives. And I think that again is just stuff that it's stuff Marvel's throwing out that is very complex and very interesting stuff, but they're just not flushing it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I feel like that whole part, like the whole blip thing, it's such a over like a huge story of stuff that like they randomly hit on and talk about, but don't like totally go into it. And it kind of sucks sometimes because it's like, oh my gosh, that's such a like an amazing story that you could be telling. Like, how are these people dealing with coming back after 5 years? Like
Yeah.
regular people, like they were gone for 5 years too, not just these superheroes. And I don't think people are catching on to that stuff because it's not being mentioned enough or talked about enough.
It's mentioned and then they move on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kind of like just kind of like brushed over kind of stuff.
And
like,
nobody,
oh, there's this whole like group of people who never got any. Like it was talked about in Falcon Winter Soldier.
Right.
That's what the main stick of the villain was. It was mentioned in She-Hulk. There was a lot of stuff in that talked about it randomly. It's like all these shows and movies are like hitting at this bigger storyline that's out there. Like even in WandaVision, it was talked about. It was like all these things. It's like I think it's just there's just stories that like I don't know if they're slowly in the background putting these stories out for a reason, or if they're just like we need to mention that so it's people remember that people were gone for 5 years.
Yeah. Also, I thought in Ant-Man, someone would mention the fact that in the ocean there is a gigantic celestial
Eternal sitting there.
Yeah, internal. Is it in the celestial or eternal?
Eternal, just sitting there.
Nobody's mentioned this at all.
No one's mentioned it in anything since Eternals,
which is very bizarre.
Yeah, no shows like She-Hulk never mentioned it.
No,
they were out in the middle of the ocean, out in the Caribbean somewhere,
right?
And no one's like, "Hey, have you seen that new theme park at the Eternal Dead Body? Did anyone visited that? See how it's going on over there?"
It feels disconjointed sometimes.
It feels like everyone kind of just like everyone, including Marvel, is just like, "Yeah, we know Eternals wasn't good. We're sorry. We apologize. Let's just forget it ever happened. If we don't talk about it, out of sight, out of mind. If we don't talk about it, you won't talk about it."
Yeah, well,
and then, like, fans are like, "Well, wait a minute. We want to talk about it. We want to talk about what happened there. You put out a whole storyline, and there's like a whole thing going on.
Right.
You introduced another superhero, and you hinted at a bigger, like the Blade world involved in it, and like you've never
got nothing
about it again.
Yeah, this is why it's
Blade got pushed back, and that's not happening. Possibly.
I kind of felt like if you go back to phase 1 and 2 and 3, they built upon each other, but they were standalones. So you could jump in at any time, but the ending would always connect to the bigger story. Where this, it was just like we're gonna throw a bunch of new stuff at you.
Throw this at you. 1, 2, and 3.
But nothing. But nothing is really coming.
Phase 1, 2, and 3. Who was the CEO?
Well, it's Kevin Feige.
No, the CEO of Disney.
Bob Iger.
Phase 4, who was the CEO?
Bob Chapek.
There you go.
Well, yeah. But Kevin Feige's still the one running Marvel.
Yeah, but I still think that there's like the overarching person. Iger was very much involved in all the stuff, all the entertainment side of stuff.
Hey, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, he was involved in all that. He's the one that made sure that he put forth the effort to get Fox to be able to get the X universe back in under the Marvel umbrella, because he wanted to like have that all together. He's the one that drove the deal with Sony to bring Spider-Man into the MCU. Like he was like very much involved in those like bigger ideas.
He knows quality is better over quantity.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like since Disney Plus started, they are just kind of like, we just got to get stuff on here. We just got to get stuff
Well,
on.
that was another thing too. I think that was just that's also another thing. It was at the time, pre-COVID, it was quantity over quality.
But also,
And I
the
think-
only thing Disney Plus had was The Mandalorian, which was a huge hit.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's it. So
And
then
they,
they're
all
like,
their like IPs were given out to all these other places.
Yeah.
So they had contracts with these other places, and then like now all these stuff starting to come back because they've like bought up all the rights to everything since they've lapses and rights have all gone away and stuff. That there's a whole bunch of stuff coming like that now coming back to Disney Plus. So it's like it feels
Right.
like there's and it's just a thing of you also have to get people to subscribe, you have to give them content.
and it's got to be, sometimes you just have to be like, we're going to give you quality because you want to come
I
back.
mean, the thing that like that proves the model is what the show we talked about right before this, Last of Us. It's only 10 episodes long, but we're only 7 in, and it feels like I've been watching the show for over a year.
Well, I don't know
In
if
a
that's
good way.
thing.
Like it,
Well,
like emotional wise, it feels like
H-
it's been going on for a long time. I feel like I'm really invested in it.
Right.
And I feel like-
HBO is different. They're not a stream. They are an actual network.
No, but they have a streaming service too. But I'm just saying, it's like I feel
They
like it's just,
do, but
yeah.
it's not. They're not relying on subscribers to survive. They're
Oh,
part of cable.
not as much as
Disney
other
Plus
places.
is surviving on subscribers. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus. These are strictly streaming services that are only seen if you pay a subscription. Where I can watch The Last of Us on cable on a Sunday night and DVR it, or I can subscribe to the thing.
Yes.
So it's a tad bit different, but HBO is high quality. You're getting a high quality show. Majority of the time, it's 9s and 10s from them. Netflix.
But we're just saying the theory of it, not the
Netflix
actual way it works. But I'm
Netflix
saying it's like
used to be 9s and 10s, but they decided
they're rolling out like
quantity
6 and
over
7s.
quantity.
Yeah, 6 and 7s is their goal now.
Yeah.
But
And then
speaking of Peacock, really quick, you should watch that show Poker Face.
Oh, we're gonna wait till it ends.
Yeah.
I heard it's good.
They're amazingly good.
Yeah.
It made me like the main character. I never was a big fan of hers, but
oh, she's great. I love her.
It's just her voice. I don't know.
We are knee deep in Buffy. We've just entered season 3, and oh my god, we love it. Allison's obsessed.
I don't know how she had not seen it.
She just, it wasn't her. She never.
She was in the right age group at the time.
Yeah, but you know what? We all miss shows. I mean,
You missed every show. So there's one thing. You can't even use that as an excuse. You missed everything.
Well,
if it wasn't Seinfeld, you weren't watching it back in the day.
I hate to break it to you, Mark. Once I graduated high school, I was working all the time and going to Snuntuck, but then I moved out. I didn't have cable. I didn't watch TV. There was a good point in chunk of my life where I barely watched any television because I was either working or I was out at Denny's or I was doing something.
All right, we get it. You had friends and you had a life. Congratulations, Brian. Unlike other people who didn't have friends or a life, all we did is sit around and watch TV because that was our friends and that was our life. Okay.
I hate to tell you, Mark, we were friends during the early 2000s.
Right out of high school.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I was obsessed with TV in high school. I would record everything, but once I got out of high school, I just wanted to get out of the house. I was never like, I didn't want to be in the house much. So I was like always out doing something. But anyway, holy crap. Yeah, we are loving it. We are
anyways, back to Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So let's put this on a bow. Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up in a bow. What's your final I'll let you go first. What's your final verdict, final thoughts, and what is your score for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania?
As we say all the times, these are on a certain scale of the other things in its category. So we're using the Marvel scale here.
Well, you use whatever scale you want.
Well, we're using the Marvel scale. This is in the pantheon of Marvel movies.
Okay, you do it.
I'm going to give it an 8.
And I'm going to keep
B. It's like a B.
I'm going to keep track of this year. So at the end of
Okay.
the year,
You can go back and
you
see.
can go back. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
so I'm giving like an 8. It's not terrible. Like I said to Claire when I first got home, she was like, how was the movie? I said, it's not great. It's not terrible. It was good. It happened. It was one of those Marvel movies where it happened. It was it was the beginning of the story movie. So it wasn't like you're not gonna get a lot because they're just kind of starting the story. They don't want to give you too much. So they kind of hinted at things. They set up Loki season 3 or season 2. So
you're
yeah,
giving it 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
All right.
It's probably not one of my. It's definitely not in my top 5 Marvel movies of all time, but it's in.
It's in the middle for me.
It's in there. It's in that top 10 maybe.
All right. Well, Marcus, um, I agree with you on a lot of those aspects. I walked out, it washed over me. I had some fun moments with it.
Mm.
I forgot a lot of it already. I don't know any of the characters beyond the legacy characters.
Can we also just really quickly just throw out the thing of there's the chemistry between Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly's characters. To me, still 3 movies in, has not clicked.
She was barely in it.
But it doesn't seem like the 2 characters like they're supposedly in love and supposedly are together, and they're basically raising Scott's kid together part-time. But it doesn't feel like it's actually happening. It feels like they're totally just in it because they're both cast in the roles. You don't have you don't feel like the Pepper Potts, Tony Stark kind of relationship.
Oh, I
where
agree.
they're together.
Yeah.
It just feels like my dad gave you his suit and I'm kind of stuck with you kind of relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Like she just comes in and solves everything.
There wasn't a lot of like meaty or kind of meaningful dialogue between the two.
Yeah.
It was just kind of Jane talking and
Yeah.
talking and talking,
Yeah.
and then Kang talking and talking.
It was also there wasn't ever like there's never been like that scene where I think like I can't even tell you like the scene that made me like, oh, these 2 are meant to be together kind of thing.
Right, totally.
Like Gamora and Star-Lord, you have that scene with the Walkman.
Yeah.
Pepper Potts and Tony Stark, you have the scene where she's like, he has to put the suit on her, like stuff like that. There's like those kind of scenes in those movies. But with Ant-Man and Wasp, I don't remember like
she just got her suit.
She's just there.
Yeah, she's just there. I agree.
And she's there to solve all the problems. Like she's a smart one of the group.
Yeah.
Like she's solving all the world's problems with the Pym particles and all that. So that was my other big thing that bothered me about the movie. Is there's still never been like the Thor Jane relationship has way more depth to it than Ant-Man and Wasp do.
Right.
Like when she's in a battle, I don't worry. Like I don't care. Like if something happens to her, it's not gonna affect me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If she were to die, it wouldn't be a big loss.
Yeah, which it would be. It should be,
but it's not
because she's a major character in that story. But it doesn't seem like there's ever been like the time put into fleshing out that story between the 2 of them.
Yeah, because in the last movie, she wasn't in it all that much. I mean, she was, but it wasn't.
She was. That's the thing. She's been in every movie a lot, but it just doesn't feel like it because there's never been enough story for her.
It's been a while since I
like in this. They tried to do it with like her and her mom's story. Like, why didn't you tell me things? But even in that stuff, it's kind of like she's just there. It's Hank and Jane going through stuff, and she's happy to be stuck with them.
It was a Hank and Jane movie with Scott.
Scott and his daughter were the ones that were developing the relationship.
Yeah.
And it seemed like she was like the 5th wheel of the movie. Like she was just there to come in and know what's going on and take care of things.
Right.
Like the whole thing with the multiple possibilities, Scott's. She just flew in, didn't affect her.
It did a little
But I
bit.
mean, not like
Him though.
yeah. And she just came in and grabbed him and saved him.
Yeah.
It's like
Stakes were
she's like
low.
the MacGuffin character.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we need to figure a way to get this out. I'll just have the Wasp take care of it. Oh, okay.
All right.
All right. But anyway, that's my little side rant about.
All right. Well, let me go back to what I'm saying.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I wanted
I
to throw that
agree.
in. I'd forgotten about throwing it in during my part. So
I agree with all those points. It was an average MCU movie. I still don't feel the threat of Kang just yet. I kind of feel like he was easily taken down, and that he will be easily taken down by everybody. I don't know. We'll see. I want to be wrong. For me, at my score, a 7 out of 10. It's a 7 out of 10. It was just good.
Mm.
It was just good.
I think the Kang that
That's
we're
it.
all going to need to worry about the most is the one from Loki.
Probably.
I think that's the thing that they're showing is that all these Kangs individually aren't that powerful. Except this one. Because he's the one that remains.
Well, there's tons of them that remains, Mark.
But the one from Loki is the one that remains. So he's the final Kang. Like he's the original Kang. Theoretically. In the storyline.
I guess. I mean, we will see how this all plays out.
He's Kang Prime, kind of.
I mean,
but it'd be interesting to see like all these other Kangs and how they're like randomly defeated by whoever.
Right. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. When is King Dynasty? That's coming out 2025?
Yeah. So 2
Something
years.
like that. So we'll see how this all plays out.
Which feels like a long time, but really isn't, as we've noticed. It's gonna be here before we know it.
Yeah, time goes by.
Like Guardians is in May.
I'm so excited for Guardians. It's one MCU movie.
Marvel's got pushed back to November.
Super. Yeah.
So end of November, like Thanksgiving weekend.
That's great. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. So
they swapped it out with another Disney movie.
Yeah.
But I think that's good. Let it have some time, breathing room in between each thing, you know? I think when you have them too close together, people get burnt out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it gives you time to let Guardians have the beginning of summertime, and then people will move on to the next thing.
The Elemental movie got moved. That's what it is. They swapped it with the Elemental movie.
Oh, okay.
That Pixar. That was in the trailers. Yeah.
So we'll see how it all plays out. Overall, it was a good time to see everybody. We had a good time. Like I said, I do want to see it again just because those kids kind of distracted me a little bit. Yeah. But Marcus, I guess we should wrap it up.
We should. You know what we're gonna do next week, Brian?
What?
Next week is back to us doing predictions, because starting next Wednesday, Mandalorian
episode 1.
Oh boy.
Very excited for Mandalorian.
Very excited for Mandalorian.
And for 2 weeks, we'll have a Mandalorian and The Last of Us.
Yes.
You got to finish that episode because
I'm going to. I will.
Pedro Pascal's Emmy-nominated episode, in my opinion.
I've heard you say that multiple times now. Yes.
I've said it just now.
Well, you said it in our chat. You've mentioned it a couple times.
I posted on Facebook.
Yes, that's what it was. I knew it was somewhere.
But it was a really good episode. And we got 3 episodes left. I'm interested to see how they're going to wrap this up.
Well, assuming it's going to end like the first game. That's the supposed rumor.
That's what they talked about, because they weren't sure if they're going to do a season 2 or not, which they got greenlit for season 2. But we don't know. They have changed some things that have been very well. They've done a very good job changing some things. So we shall see. This episode that you will finish watching, they did change some things that really worked for the show. So anyway, this Sunday, East of the River Comic Book and Toy Show, Enfield, Connecticut, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We will be there. Tons of deals.
Matt Ryan will be there.
Yes.
Vendors will be there. Comics will be there. Toys will be there. You should be there too.
Yeah. So come
on down.
Come join us.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week. We'll see you all then. And as always, be safe. Be well. Be kind.
And rewind.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.